So what if the secret of your law firm's long-term success isn't necessarily what you think it is? What if maybe there's some resources or tools out there that you just haven't tapped into, or maybe you've thought about, but you're not sure if it's legit, or you're not sure if it's 100% right for you? My name's Corrin Swintosky. I am an owner myself. I'm a freelance criminal paralegal. And in today's video, I want to talk about one of, if not the most underrated traits of a freelance paralegal. So before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about my journey as a freelance paralegal. I was a criminal paralegal. I worked for the public defender's office for a little bit before I went freelance. And once I went independent, I started to see how much there was a need for specifically solo and small law firms across the country. Part of this is due to difficulty finding talent, to cost. There's a lot of overhead costs that comes with the W-2 employee. And part of it is just that the legal field never sleeps. It's constantly flowing. There's always something, and some law firms need a little bit more support or more flexibility than just the 9 to 5. That is why I felt becoming a freelance paralegal was paramount and necessary for a lot of solo small law firms out there that needed that jump start in support without having to invest in a full-time W-2. Now, what I believe is one of, if not the most underrated traits about a freelance paralegal is simplicity. The reason I say this is because the legal field is already complicated enough. Now, obviously, as attorneys, you guys have a really great handle on this. But when it comes to trying to onboard staff, scale your law firm, grow your law firm, keep that success consistent, that's not simple. There's a lot of factors at play, and really it's very individualized how people want to grow and scale their firm. So having someone come on that keeps and makes things simple is such a game changer that I've been seeing. And in this video, I want to give some examples of how freelance paralegals bring simplicity to law firms. So first off, when I mean simplicity, I mean just clear, consistent communication. In my business, Lucid Legal Support, that's partly why I named it Lucid. Clearly expressing, easy to understand. That is the foundation of my business and why I started Lucid Legal Support. So we want to make sure communication's clear and consistent. Frankly, I'm a boss myself, and when I always have to go after individuals and always have to follow up on what they're doing, and I'm always taking that first step, a freelance paralegal is supposed to already anticipate the attorney's needs, right? So I'm doing that extra step and probably a lot of times over communicating to my attorney client. I think one thing that keeps it simple where the law firms aren't, or the attorneys, aren't always having to micromanage or have to follow up on things with their staff. Another part of the simplicity is having streamlined processes. So I want to preface that I've said this before in other videos, the legal field is the last to adapt to change, right? We're seeing a lot right now on tech, we're seeing a lot on AI, and we're seeing a lot in terms of staffing. I think a lot of law firms haven't even considered a freelance paralegal, and if they have, either they don't know how to hire one, they don't know what they can do, they don't know how the freelance paralegal can help their law firm, which is totally understandable and totally fine. And I think that there's, I don't want to say stigma as necessarily a bad thing, but I think that there's this momentum building that a lot of people are claiming to be freelance paralegals or independent that maybe can't meet the workload or requirements, which is causing this pull and pull in the industry. So in my business, I have a ton of work product. Any type of work product a potential client wants to look at, I'm happy to provide because I am confident in my work. I've been in business for a couple years now successfully, and I think that speaks volume to what I do. I also try to streamline the processes in the law firm. So if we're relying on 10 different systems, I try to integrate those systems or only rely on a few. We all have access to the same information to create these streamlined processes when we're all working on a case, because a case, as we know, can go through different hands. Keeping things simple, that's another thing a freelance paralegal can do. And the last part that I want to talk about that could be the most important to you and your law firm is that freelance paralegals deliver on time, consistently, and sometimes early. And I always try to submit assignments, if I can, a week or so before a major filing deadline. at least a couple days, if that, so that if there are any revisions that the attorney wants me to do or that they want to implement, we have plenty of time. So simplicity, it might be something that's nice to have. It might be something that you foresee maybe that could happen. I can tell you right now, it's not a could, it's a can. It can happen for your law firm. If you're interested in hiring a freelance paralegal and having more simplicity in your law firm and in your personal life, I'd be happy to talk to you. Feel free to go to lucidlegalsupport.com, check out my website, feel free to email me, reach out to me on LinkedIn, however way you want. I do formal types of calls with potential clients and informal. I specialize in criminal defense and post-conviction relief, and I'd be happy to chat with you. So, thank you so much for watching. If there's any questions, concerns, feel free to comment. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe, do whatever you feel. Thank you again so much, and we'll see you in the next one.